proudly presents the Horrific Podcast.
What is going on, everybody? This is Jimmy. This is another episode of the Horrific Podcast. And this week we have a special panel to take up the meat and potatoes of the show this week on Horrific Podcast. It's a conversation with Sean Haitz, who's been on the show multiple times, and Roman Jossart, who is the founder of 605 Studios. And we are all together. We sit down as part of what happened on Sinister Cyber Con and determine what will be really, the future of filmmaking versus the future of doing it all independently. How important is film school? How important is constant studying, learning? All that stuff happens in this conversation. It was a very cool conversation. Really news-wise, man, we're coming off of not a whole lot. Theme park-wise, it looks like Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood, as well as everything in California, is toast. And so it's Florida or bust in that regard. We're gonna get a new La Llorona movie, a new take on that comes out early on here in August. Another one coming out, Let It Snow, that comes out in September. That deals with me and Max visit a European freeride snowboarding vacation. They ignore the receptionist's tales of unexplained depths on the nearby trails. When they sneak into a foreign slope, Max goes missing and Mia finds herself attacked by a snowmobiler. So there you go, that whole isolation, you're in a foreign country, all that looks like it's coming down the pipeline. The La Llorona plot seems interesting. It is a more of a legal thing, and so when a family is finally faces trial for the genocide of thousands of Mayans decades ago, a horde of angry protesters threatens to invade their opulent home. The women of the house, his hoity wife, conflicted daughter, and precious granddaughter, weigh their responsibility to shield the erotic, senile Enrique against the devastating truths being publicly revealed and the increasing sense that a wrathful supernatural force is targeting them for his crimes. So, totally different feel for La Llorona. But both of those looked pretty interesting to me. I mean, we're in an era where going back to the movie theaters is so not going to happen in California anytime soon. And we talk, on Campfire Chronicles and other shows, the chances of that happening are slim to none, along with the fact that those major cities are closed, and that's a huge part of the box office is the major cities. So horror is going to be these independent, Shudder releases, Amazon releases, Netflix releases, and Netflix did a decent job with Ju-On Origins. They've done a pretty good job with Unsolved Mysteries. I would say that they're definitely in all genres right now horror, action, sci-fi, whatever. Netflix is still definitely way ahead as far as the pandemic release schedule. Disney's done Artemis Fowl, and they've done a few other ones, but and Artemis Fowl was fine, but Netflix is way out ahead right now. It's kind of like a dog that is is stoked that you're home with them all day. I know my dog is biggest winner of the pandemic. Dogs for sure. But anyway, man, let's get into the Sinister Cyber Con panel. We actually have the Sinister Cyber Con names almost ready to announce for October. Going to be another cool weekend. All kinds of talent coming, all kinds of talent willing to put in the time to talk to us, to have fun with us, to create content for you. Also, Comic-Con, stay-at-home Comic-Con, and a stay-at-home Disney's birthday from last weekend. All pretty cool stuff took place, and we will do some of that coverage in the coming weeks as Nerdageddon makes its return to our channel. So stay tuned for that. But all that is really irrelevant because Sinister Cyber Con was one of the first to bring you this program in lockdown. And this conversation is one that I'm super stoked about. Roman Jossart, Sean Haitz, and myself talking indie filmmaking, indie horror. Enjoy it. Going live, connecting. And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Our final panel of the day. First and foremost, thank you so much for coming on board with this Sinister CyberCon. We've had a great day one and day two tomorrow. Going to be just as much fun. But today, to close it out, two guys that I am super excited to talk to. One first, he has been on the show a couple of times, as has some actors and actresses from his movies. Director Sean Haitz. Welcome, sir. How you doing?
Hey, good. Thank you for having me. It's awesome.
And another indie horror director, writer, man of all hats, as I like to call it, coming out of film school. We do anything and everything we're able to. The founder of Studio 605, Roman Jossart. I messed it up,
but I'll take it. It's been said worse.
Is on the show. So, guys, I mean, we're all in different areas, which is cool. Is why getting to do this is awesome, because we're all in different areas of being in film production. Sean, you've gotten to put yourself together a pretty dope franchise with Big Top Evil. So you've seen it kind of all the way through.
Yeah.
Roman, as of you started your own production company, Studio 605. Mm-hmm. And now, right when I met you, I think it was through Brian, you had kind of like made the decision to go like full bore with it too, which is awesome. That you're just like, I'm doing it. Now is the time. No time like the present. That's dope, man.
Yeah, it was scary at first, but totally worth it. Totally worth it. I'm so glad I did it. It's paid off.
Yeah.
So with you guys in indie horror, what is it that you think is the hardest part in getting started? Is it just getting started? There's like age-old famous quotes that always get said at later on in someone's career, I feel like, and they always say the biggest crime is to not do it or to not try, and that is relatable. I can imagine, like, regret is a very powerful thing to be living with. So if you got a dream or an idea, I definitely encourage you, take the first and try. I guess that'd be mine. Like, if you got an idea to do something, go ahead and do it. But
Sean, what do you think was your biggest obstacle?
Biggest obstacle. Well, at first it's to overcome the overwhelmingness, because it sounds overwhelming, right? To try to make a whole movie, a feature film.
Yeah.
But what's funny? Like in life, I don't do that great. I get overwhelmed very easily. But for some reason, like I enjoy the process of filmmaking, and I can somehow understand that if the universe wants me to do this, that it's like riding a wave. It's just gonna kind of keep going. And I'm almost, or I'm like staying out of it. Like, whoa, okay, this is happening. All right, and staying out of the outcome. And but the hardest thing, with Cannibal Comedian, I had help on writing it for sure. I initially was the final say, and I'm the writer of the script. I have people that help me with dialogue and a little bit story here and there. But I guess it's the pen to paper to start it is probably the hardest, just to start it. And then the second hard part is the pre-production of it, of like, okay, now how are we going to do this? And, you can get overwhelmed too. Is like, if like for me, I don't have much, I don't have the money. I'm not going to go too much longer with this, but the one thing that I also learned that was pretty new is, putting together a pitch, a lookbook of what your idea is. And that actually opens it up a little bit. Like if you wanted to look like 70s Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and then you want it to look like, have the vibe of like a early Jim Carrey film from the 90s, and you start and then when you start putting that together, just like a lookbook and the story, then it starts kind of like becoming a reality, and then from there
it becomes real to you.
Yeah. That helps a lot. Putting together with pictures and the story, it starts to become real.
And sometimes that's just the best way to get it across to somebody else when you're trying to explain it. It's like sometimes you just can't use your words. It's like, look at these pictures.
I'm a picture guy for sure.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what he's saying. And what's weird is the longer I keep doing this, it's funny because the obstacles I found in the beginning, for the most part, you almost in filmmaking, and I listen to a lot of podcasts from filmmakers that I admire, and they all say the same thing. And a lot of the same problems is like obviously finances and indie level, but you hear about it in Hollywood all the time. They can't somehow find the money, so there's always things that definitely make it hard. But to me, I think the hardest thing I've come across is just finding that like-minded person, collaborator, because you can't do this by yourself, but you can't just do it with anybody, and you got to find that one person, and sometimes it takes forever.
It took years for me to find the right person that was willing to put their time to work with your passion, your idea. That's the hard part as a musician too. Not take it, but
just
that part too. Yeah,
make it theirs as much as yours, because film is a collaboration, but it's hard to find that in the beginning, and it can take forever. And I think that's the hardest part I've come across, is just finding those like-minded individuals for those type of projects.
That is something that I can imagine is pretty hard to get over. Just getting done with film school, we pretty much have to do every task in it, so we learn how to do every part of it. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I got myself I've noticed about myself is now I don't want to not do every part of it.
Right. Yeah.
And like filming stuff, and then trusting someone to go edit it and not be right there as they're editing it.
Mm-hmm.
That thought freaks me out now.
That's a trust thing.
Yeah,
like, all right, I put all my work and soul into this project. Hope you don't screw it up. Like it's a hard thing to pass the buck sometimes.
That part's really hard.
And then if you watch or listen to our channel, everybody who does knows I'm over here talking Star Wars all the time, and I hear like a story about what happened with J.J. Abrams. I actually liked Rise of Skywalker, but
I love AJ.
But to hear the story, to hear him tell that story about how I thought it was going to be a completely different film. I didn't cut this. This is all a surprise. I'm like, damn, if that's true, shit. That's super like, oh no. But
I've been lucky with the new one. He wants to make, he wants to do it he definitely has. He's a really cool editor. He definitely has his take on it, and he's going to pitch that. And then I'm either, I go, oh, that is a better idea, or but he definitely wants to make me happy. I don't know how else to say it, but when he's like no, they'll say no, and then he'll pitch, and I'm like, yeah, that's better. So I've been lucky with that. And I also, right when he got the footage, I was like, the one I liked, you hear me say perfect or like that's the one. So use that one, use that take.
That's cool to see too, when you have people that are only in it to help you better the project.
It's really good.
Which is part of something I think that everybody can learn going to film school, is because it connects you with people that maybe later on down the line you do end up collaborating with and working with. And
you both go to film school?
I didn't go to film school.
I didn't either.
Really? All right.
No.
All right. Now let me ask you this.
I would have liked to. I wish I would have, but
now let me
Mm-hmm.
let me ask you this, because this is what influenced my decision to go. Do you feel your location now, because you're both full-time filmmakers,
Mm-hmm.
do you feel that the location geographically where you are now producing and developing, hopefully finding distribution for your films, do you think it can be bettered by having gone to film school? Or where you're at right now, do you think that you would have a better shot at getting work noticed by having gone to film school?
Sean first.
I would have liked to go to film school like really young. Like I wish I would have got into it. I don't even know if there's film school when you're 16. But I also was at that age. I started. I had a band and I was writing music, so I kind of put film aside for a second there. But at first, film was first. But anyways, I didn't like regular school. So I actually, I was trying to go to film school, and I had to do all the prerequisites or something to even be considered to go to film school. And I didn't have the patience, and I didn't like raising my hand when I didn't know. I mean, this is not film school. This is just whatever, algebra or whatever, a different. But anyways, I said, no, I'm just going to go make a movie. And I did. And I made a 40. Here, I have it right here. Mangrove Slasher 2. It's a 47-minute film, and that's Miss Sadistic and David Vega were in that. And I got popular in my hometown in Florida. I told you about that before, but I would have liked to be on set at a young age and learning all those things. So my path was different, but I would have rather went to film school. But my patience is not I'm not going through all these tests and all this school to go to film school. I don't have.
I'm not taking my generals to learn how to make a movie.
Yeah. So if it would have been more available to me, like someone's like, here, go to this film school and you can just learn film, I would have been all in. But it wasn't there for me.
Yep.
What about you, Roman? Would you and don't get me wrong, when you're watching this, obviously I am pro film school, having just graduated, knock on wood, it'll benefit me. But awesome. if you don't go to film school, I am not naysaying that either. I hadn't gone to film school when I made my first feature. And the reason why I went to film school was the movie got into a handful of festivals. And I was like, oh, okay, let's see if I actually do have a future at that. Having gone to film school, I can tell you I learned way more than I ever would have had the drive to learn myself.
I'm glad. That's awesome. Because sometimes you hear the horror stories reverse.
Right.
Like, I spent all this money to go learn how to make a movie, and we never made a movie. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, for sure.
For me, so when I was younger in high school, I actually didn't want to be a filmmaker at that age. I didn't want to be a filmmaker until I was about 21. Now, I loved movies, and I had a huge interest in film. And because when I was in high school, I saw Adam Green's Hatchet, which inspired me to write my first film, which we made back in 2013. So I wrote the script when I was in high school, but never to actually make it. I just wrote it because I came up with this idea. And like he said, in high school, I was in a band, and that was my thing. And it was the band or nothing. And then after high school, the band broke up. And I didn't know what to do with my life. And at the time, I had a friend who found out about my script from high school and basically peer pressured me into us making the movie because I was very against it. I was like, we're not going to make a movie. Like, we're talking a feature film here. Like, we've made 3-minute YouTube videos, all right? We're not going to make a whole damn movie. Well, peer pressure later, I made the movie. But I would have gone to film school just for the social environment to have met those like-minded people, because at least at film school, everyone's there because at least they have a passion for film. It might not be the same type of film. It might not be the same type of genre, but everybody is there for the same reason. And that would have been, to me, really nice, because here in the Midwest, it's very far and few where you meet a really passionate filmmaker compared to, something out like in LA or something like that.
Right.
So out here, it's just a lot harder. So for me, that would have been the golden ticket, just to have met other people and hopefully kept those relationships after film school. Because you hear stories about Spielberg and Lucas meeting at film school, So it's like, to think that you missed out on that opportunity or something crazy. But for the social environment, I highly recommend people to go for it. I'm like, if you want to go and meet like-minded people, there's no other place to do it other than a film festival. So at least do it at the place where we're all learning how to do it and not, screwing up in front of other like-minded people. At least you can screw up together at film school.
Right, yeah.
Sure, that like you said, the big word is like-mindedness. What would you guys say one of the best tricks of making an indie horror? Like, I know we learned how to make blood and guts out of just about anything.
Yeah, right.
That was our big thing. I think our motto became, what can we make this out of to save the trip to having to go buy it at the costume shop?
Mm-hmm. Let me think of a good hack that we've done.
Well, it's funny. Like on this one, I had my friend hollow out a fire extinguisher, and then we're going to fill it with blood and spray, good spray there. It ended up not working it was working the day, but it ended up not working. I got like lint on my face. It was, and the special effects assistant, he had worked on film before, and it was a shot of an axe going in. Oh no! Sorry, it was a sledgehammer hitting the head of the guy, and we wanted the blood spray, the big spray, and it ended up he was improvised so quick. He actually took a water bottle, filled it with blood, and squeezed it like that, and it fucking shot and hit the house. Like, and then he had two other ones ready, and he's like, boom, 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 and while he's hitting, and it looked really, really good, and it still it still worked, and then we also built is actually just a styrofoam head. We ended up the special effects artist Andrea. She was great. She hollowed out the head, painted it or whatever, and so we could do an extreme close up. And we put brain, whatever. I don't know what she was using for brain, but we put a tube through the head. It's a close up of the head, and then it still had the top of the head on it. So when you smashed the hammer, the actual top of the head came off, and then he actually was the special effects assistant had the blood through a tube, and he did that. And then we also had plexiglass in front of the camera, so it's just like this boom, and then the spray hit the camera or the plexiglass. So just like
Awesome.
kind of like basic stuff, But it really
how big is your crew for that shot? When you guys did that shot, how big was your crew?
On all my films, it's been a skeleton crew. We literally had, I don't know how many people we had exactly, but it was literally just enough people to get the job done. So, we had the first AD, we had a camera, we had the second AD, we had obviously the DP, camera assistant, a PA, and even I kneeled down to give him the hammer in the shot so he could just grab the hammer and smash him. So even I was a part of it. So we were all kind of a part of it. And I think another actor was helping too at that moment. So that was about everybody. Yeah. But yeah, it was a team effort on that one.
Yeah, I know that feeling. What about you, man? What was like one of the coolest, you would say, do it yourself?
Yeah.
Next you made
DIY moments. I'll tell you the ones, because they're most recent. My memory is the worst. But most recently, I can remember for our film Wicked Ones, which my company produced for Jonestown. By the way, if you're watching this, the trailer comes out tonight at 11 our time, which I think is 8 your time.
Oh, so like almost right after this.
Eastern.
Yeah.
Trailer drops tonight at 11, but 8 your time, I think. But there's then one of these shots that I'm about to tell you the story on is in the movie. But we were out on this big road, and we're filming this pretty wide shot. It's got 4 cast members in it, 2 cars, and there's a wreck. So it's a pretty big shot on a road in the middle of nowhere at night, and our fog machine would not work. And I am very pro fog. There's fog in almost anything I do.
That's great.
At the very least, there's atmosphere. It might not be fog, but it's in the air.
Right.
So we're doing this shot, and I'm setting it up for like a very Spielberg-y type fog shot with the cop lights and stuff like that, because I want to see the lights going through the fog, and the fog machine's not working, and I am starting to lose it. Me and one other cast member, one of the leads, Katie Stewart, we both vape. So, but the problem was it's this very wide shot because I'm shooting it on a 50 mil because I wanted it to have a very wide look to this shot. So there's behind the scenes clip eventually that'll come out that shows me and her just smacking our vapes as hard as we can. everywhere, walking up and down the road.
Yeah.
We're just blowing vape everywhere and then trying to run out of the shot so that it doesn't go away with the wind because we're just outside.
Yeah.
And in the movie, it looks phenomenal. And I can't believe it was done with a vape. It's better than half the shots with the fog machine. I don't know, but it's in the trailer. So that was a pretty good hack that we did on set. Just I was like, let's vape, let's go.
And a head high.
Yeah, because I'm the DP. So as soon as I ran off camera, I got behind the camera, and I'm like, they yell action, and I'm just behind monitor, like, yeah, it looks good.
That's awesome.
That's the horror thing, man. I love fog. Everybody loves a good foggy scene, but in film school, I did an interrogation film where I had my buddy Andrew tied up and another buddy, Charlie, giving him the interrogation. And I remember that was like the day that I got my new fog machine. And so I shot it. I had new LEDs, a new fog machine, and new gels. And whatever reason that night, I shot it super foggy, red gel, and one 1-point LED, like detective, true, like old school detective style, like over the top of the table. And I can remember being so excited that every mid shot that was on either one of these guys at the table, the fog machine is just behind them. And the first feedback my teacher goes, "Why is there so much damn fog? Like, what are you trying to tell me with the fog?" And I'm like, "I'm not trying to tell you shit.
No, artistic.
I got the machine." But what do you guys think it is? Because I know, Sean, I've asked you. I think I asked almost everybody on this show, or on the podcast, the same question. I wish I would ask. We need to ask everybody on the conventions the same question as well. Is what do you think it is that horror brings everybody together? What do you think it is about horror that does that? Because horror, from growing up and wanting to be a horror director, this genre really has made networking a whole lot more fun, but a whole lot more easy to do. Everybody's so ready to help out each other in the horror genre when you're trying to get an indie horror film noticed. What do you guys think that is? Just that whole comes back down to that, like you said, Roman, the one common interest, that driving goal, having more people come out of the horror genre necessarily than any other.
For me, I think it's the thing about horror that I love personally is horror allows you to go into every other genre. With horror, if the killer's after somebody, you're now also learning how to direct an action scene. If you are trying to break up what just happened with a laugh, you're trying to write comedy or you're trying to direct comedy. If you're trying to show the trauma that's happening with the character because of what they're going through, now you're trying to learn how to deal with drama. Horror is the canon that allows you to do everything else. If you can do a comedy horror if you want to. You can do a romantic horror if you want to. Right. Burying the X is a perfect example of a romantic horror. Tucker and Dale is my favorite horror comedy. Then you've got horror films that have no comedy whatsoever inside of them. Take something like The Exorcist or whatever it is, where they just take the comedy out of it. So for me, I think people love horror because it's not so one-dimensional. When you watch a rom-com, you know what you're in for every single time. When it's a drama, you know it's going to be a slow burn the whole movie. When it's a thriller, you know it's going to be action-packed the whole movie. When it's a horror film, you kind of get to pick where you want to go with it genre-wise. It's not just so horror. It's not one-dimensional.
Right. There's many little subgenres that you could tap into.
And other genres don't have that, like horror. We've got zombies. We've got found footage. You've got every type of sub-genre. Where in comedy, I guess you've got some. You've got your raunchy comedies and you've got your family stuff. But nothing like horror. Nothing
family
like
horror
levels. Right?
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
We have a question in the
rated R though. Yeah, that could be interesting.
For sure.
Like it's a family movie.
We had a question in our chat. If you guys have ever PA'd on set for a project, what was that first day? I'm assuming.
Oh, I got a story.
Sorry. What was that like, Sean?
What was it was you ever see that show Colony?
Yes.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I worked on Colony, and the first day, because in Florida I made Big Top Evil and Mangrove Slasher, and then I moved out to LA, and you gotta work, and it was and it's hard to even become a PA. That takes time to meet the right people. It's just meeting the right people. It's not skill set, obviously, for me that day. So that's something too in film school. I didn't understand film talk. So when the AD was telling me to do something, I didn't even know what the hell he was talking about. I think he even said like lock up this right here and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, okay,
the film lingo.
Yeah. And I was just standing there, and there's pedestrians walking past, and then these military vehicles and some big, like a Hummer and then some other big military vehicles come flying down the street and pulling up, and then these pedestrians, like not extras, I just let them go because I didn't even know what was going on. I just like put in the spot, from holding or whatever, or from base camp, and then I'm just dropped off, and then I'm put over here, and I got a stupid little thing, and and the AD was like, "What the hell was that?" He's up on top of a building, like 4 stories up. The camera's up there.
Oh my God.
And I thought I was fired. I thought, they almost like people almost died from, in the movies, and then they back everything back up. So I ruined a shot as well as put people in danger. That was terrifying.
Double whammy.
Being screamed at by a real AD was like, it was so shocking that I wasn't even like butthurt about it,
Just instantly.
What is going on? And he actually said sorry at the end of the day to me, and he remembered me. So, but that was my first day as a PA. That was horrible, but it was an experience. It was that's my story.
For me, I've just as an indie director, you PA on every set you're a part of. So I mean. I might say producer director, but I mean, it's me moving the damn light stand, obviously I try to always have as big as a crew as possible, but you're going to be in an indie world. You're going to be a PA. You're going to have to just do all that. And I've done it since 2013 when I made my first film. And for me, I think that's just part of the indie process. You start as a director, but you start as a PA like you do anything else. And it'd be weird I would love to make a film where I don't. Like where I can just show up and direct. But it'd be really weird at the same time because I've always just, worn as many hats as I possibly can on a set.
I got to do that on this last one. It was pretty unbelievable the way it just came together. It was still ultra low budget, no budget, film students helping other passionate horror people that just want to like make a movie.
Yeah. And
even the first AD, he was going to volunteer to be a PA, and I saw that he was so on it, and he was so cool. I'm like, you want to be the first AD? And he killed it on the schedule. And
all about passion.
Oh my God. So I got to just direct the actors. I'm the same thing. I'm doing makeup. I'm running around with my head cut off. We even had a second AD, which was incredible. I learned all that from being a PA, on Colony, and then learning the way the machine runs. But I didn't go to film school, so I learned it that way. But it was pretty amazing to get to just concentrate on the actors. The DP was so good. I'd have a different vision. I'd be like, let's do this and this and that. And then he'd move the camera here with a different lens. And I'm like, that's better.
That's always my goal.
With the actors.
Yeah, that's always my goal as a producer. I've done a lot of films, but I've produced a lot of films for other filmmakers, which is kind of where my bread and butter is. All the way back to 2015 with Tori Jones. Right, Tori? Yeah. I'm at his house editing Wicked Ones right now. So he's hiding in the other room. But as a producer, that's always my big thing is because I've been the director, the PA, hopefully not the sound guy at the same time, because I can't hold a boom on top of all that. But and I get it, and it sucks, and it's stressful because as a director, you just want to focus on those actors and watch that monitor. Yeah. So as a producer, that's a big thing that I try to do with Tori on this last film with Wicked Ones. I was like, I just want you to, I want you to be able to just sit in your chair, watch this monitor, and make the movie you want to make. And, your AD will take care of the crew. We will take care of as much as possible, all the way back to Inverted, which is a film I did last summer for Deranged Minds Entertainment. Tristan Clay was the director on that. And I told him on set, as your producer, I don't want you to do anything but direct. I was like, you can do what you want to do, but I don't want you to have to do anything but direct. Because like you said, it makes the difference. It really does. Like when you can just sit down and focus on one thing and get that performance, or, find that one spot for that actor where had you been worrying about the light, you weren't even paying that much attention, and you've lost that beautiful shot because you're focused. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just going to say,
did you feel like you got to just direct this time?
More than I have on the last 3 films.
Ah, there you go.
More than he has on the last 3 films. I'll take it.
I was just going to say one thing that I found out that I really enjoyed. I wouldn't want to do it as the main job, but with Cannibal Comedian, we got to shoot out in the desert in this creepy house that was already nicknamed Murder Cabin, and they had all the oil cans, the part of the motorcycle, all that, the stuff that you see out in the desert, old pipes and stuff, and pictures and all sorts of, it was all in the shed, and we got to use all that stuff.
You know what's scarier than the movies we make? The places we make our movies.
Oh, yeah, I know. It was very scary. And
it's always so much scarier than what we're filming.
Yeah. I found out that I really liked art direction. I was moving things around, and we would frame it up, and I'm like, no, let's bring out that motorcycle. Well, that old motorcycle, bring it out. It's in the background, and then give depth. We even had a washing machine. I knocked that over, a broken washing machine, and you get to see that depth. And I had a lot of fun framing up, or he'd frame it up, and then I would give the depth
fill it in
with the art direction. That was so much fun. I really enjoyed doing that, and I was running around doing that myself, and placing pieces around, and that was a lot of fun.
It's one of those things where it's interesting going from doing everything to just getting to direct. I think that makes you appreciate and want to go back and do all the everythings again. I know if having done the gore stuff and the kill scenes and all the fun stuff, I love being able to do that so much. Now I know there's a lot of people that can do it a lot better than I can do. So hopefully there's a time in my career, my lifetime, I get to work with some first class guys, but I know as they're setting it all up, if I have the time, I would want to be standing right next to them as they're doing it.
Oh, yeah.
Is that
Well, let's be real though. That if you're gonna take a job on set, you always want to hang out in the gore department. Like if you get to pick your job of the day, you'd be like, "Well, I guess I'll hang out with special effects."
Special effect is so serious. They're like, no, this blood. This type of blood is for this. Yeah. This is for that.
That's not edible.
Oh, like, we can't use that on the face.
Yeah.
You know, like, all right, guys. But
check
good.
Now, like they're freaking out because you're touching them. Yeah.
What is the one, if you could do one kind of horror film, whether it be something, traditional like a Michael Myers, or would you do
like an IP that already exists?
Not so much an IP, but call it like you would jump into a subgenre of horror. You would put your spin on it, but in doing that, you'd be like a slasher, some kind of paranormal, a serial killer type thing, any kind of subgenre. Hills Have Eyes, like Devil's Rejects, even. What would be your subgenre that you guys? And I'll even make the question that much sweeter. Like you've got your. All I have to do is direct, and you've got like your dream come true budget to do it however you want to. The Sean or Roman movie that would be coming to theaters this summer/fall would be a what?
Yeah, I can go. It's funny. I can't think like that. I have to think like what's my next idea? Because even with Cannibal Comedian, we were able to do. I had to make the script. I had to bring it down to bare bones. Like, for instance, I had the girl in this basically this dungeon jail cell, and we couldn't do that, so she ended up in the bedroom of the killer's house, locked to the bed. Worked out better. It just kind of worked. So it all kind of worked. So. I guess that it's a hard one to answer. I mean, on the next one, I would like to have like a budget like Death House. I think he had like $500,000 or something. I'm not sure exactly, but he had some budget. So I'd like to have a budget, like not even $1 million. Just then you get the thing too is I'm more excited about all these people that helped me on the last one. Like it would be so cool to pay them. But my next one is a subgenre, and we already have a rough draft, and it's basically Alien meets Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So we're going a little bit sci-fi. When my personality comes out, so there's always some comedy there, some quirkiness going on. So I'm really excited about that, and I have a great writer who's taken the bull by the horns with this one, and so I'm just helping with story. And so that one I would like to have the Death House budget. I'm just calling it $500K, but
there we go.
Yeah, or $250. I don't know.
He's like, I'm not being picky. Just I don't need $1 million.
Give me shit out to make a legitimate. We made a legitimate film with no money. Like we had a great caterer that's a friend of mine, and then the sound man has to be paid. There's no way getting around that. But he loved this, so he did it super cheap. The DP's a young kid. So talented, just wanted to make a feature, so we were able to make this happen. The murder cabin that we shot at is a friend of mine's. He owns it with his dad and his brother, and we were able to shoot there for free. I had to pay the cleaning bill. Yeah, but not even that I can't think that far ahead. Like a Spielberg movie, I don't even know what I would do. But this next one, I'm excited about doing that one. I'd like a little bit of budget for that.
Roman, what about you, man?
Yeah, I'm definitely similar in I kind of just focus on whatever movie I'm doing that year. I have a rough 5-year plan, but it's a very loose. Like it's like make a film a year, make 3 films a year. It's not like I gotta make my slasher movie.
Yeah.
When it comes to the films that we kind of come back to and love, for me, it's always going to be the slasher subgenre of horror. It's just, for me, it's the most fun. There's tons of gore. There's usually tons of comedy. When it's not funny, it's usually pretty scary. I love slasher films, but if I ever got to play in any sandbox of filmmaking, I would love to do a superhero horror, kind of like Brightburn was.
Yeah.
I would love to make a high budget superhero horror film. I think, I would love to do an Injustice the movie.
Yeah, that'd be pretty dope.
Like I want to show like something like The Boys on Amazon, kind of.
Yeah.
I want to show the gritty side of superheroes. I would love to do something like that. Like, Superman's got laser beams, so when he hits somebody, like there should be an immense amount of gore.
Yeah, make it like Quentin Tarantino, very graphic.
Exactly. It's like Tarantino did a superhero film. That's what I want to make.
There you go.
Get the rights from Snyder to make it happen. We'll just do the gore edit of Justice League and Batman versus Superman.
Yeah, there we go.
Well, guys, before we let you go, and we thank you very much for
it's a good name, Supergore.
Supergore. Yes. But we thank you. I thank you guys both for coming and having this conversation.
Oh, no, I'm so glad you asked me to be on this. This was so much fun.
It's awesome.
But tell everybody, Sean, and then you, Roman, where everybody can kind of keep track of your progress and see what you got coming down next.
Yeah.
Yeah. My next one is it's more of a horror film. It's dark. It's got some comedy, but Cannibal Comedian is my next movie, and we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. So just look up Cannibal Comedian. And what's cool is there's really good gore and it's scary. And then we had some great stand-up comics, LA comics that were in the film. So you're getting a good. And then there's a lot of jokes, she wasn't very pretty on the outside, but it's her insides that really count, and he does comedy for his victims and stuff like that. So it's pretty wicked and pretty heavy. That's the one I'm working on right now. And as I mentioned, the other sci-fi horror we're writing. So I'm stoked about that I'm moving forward, but Cannibal Comedian, check that out. We just released a teaser. We're going to release a trailer soon, an official trailer. And I hope to have that come out this year. But we definitely are going to have a cast and crew premiere for it. And probably, obviously, some fans if they want to come out too. So,
right on.
Yeah, this year.
Roman, where can we keep you?
So pretty much just the Facebooks and Instagram, pretty basic. On Facebook, you can find Studio 605. Myself, which is Roman Jossart. I also go by Rojo, Rojo. It's just my first and last name abbreviated. On Instagram, Horror Nerd Rojo, at Horror Nerd Rojo. And then YouTube for Studio 605. You'll see all our stuff on there. And like I said, in what time? About an hour 15, we'll be dropping our newest trailer for Wicked Ones on the Wicked Ones Facebook page and YouTube. So it's going to release both. But in about an hour, we're going to show it to the world.
Right.
Awesome.
Well, gentlemen, it was a cool way to close out night one. I hope you guys check out night 2 tomorrow. Day 2 tomorrow, but
he's exhausted.
Roman,
he's exhausted, Chad.
On board.
Thank you, Mosley.
Yeah, thanks for having me for sure.
And with that, I will bring in my co-promoter who kicked it off with me, Brian. Brian, day one, I got to say thank you to everybody who was commenting and watching and being on board with all of us throughout the whole day. It was a fun day.
Yeah, it was a pretty awesome day. I mean, it blew by fast, to be honest. I couldn't believe, like, as soon as you kind of get in the groove, another panel was about to start, which was awesome. Yeah. And then I absolutely loved watching Megan do her thing with her artwork that she was doing. And tomorrow, man, we just got a huge lineup tomorrow, kicking off with Gigi. I just can't thank you guys enough being a part of this. Jimmy and his team came on board with Sinister Creature Con, 3 years ago, I think it was, somewhere around there. And, he was referred to us from an old panel host that we used to have that went on to do other things and came with high recommendations. And his high recommendations doesn't live up to what Jimmy and his team has done. So for me personally, thank you so much to the entire Horrific Network for doing this. If it wasn't for you guys, I'm not going to do 6-7 hours myself. I'll tell you that right now. So with that, I appreciate you guys tremendously. I don't say it enough. And to everybody at Sinister Creature Con, yes, I know it sucks that we're not going to be seeing each other in person in June. Let's cross our fingers to keep those masks on, and hopefully we'll see each other in October. With that, we have a good lineup coming for you guys. The list is already out. You can check it out on sinistercreaturecon.com. But tomorrow, day 2, Sinister Cyber Con, kicking off at noon with Gigi Guerrero. And we have just a bunch of different people. So thank you so much, everybody who viewed in today.
Good stuff. Everybody, thank you very much for watching. We thank the team, all the moderators. We'll be back with you tomorrow as we kick.
So there you go, man. I hope you enjoy it this week. Campfire Chronicles is on the air with Andrew's pick. We then have a return of Nerdageddon, which you may have heard before Campfire Chronicles. As that comes out this week or next week, we will see. Then we have week 1 of 2 of Halloween Horror Nights 18 on HHN Jukebox. So a whole lot of stuff for you this week. Hope you enjoy it all. We continue to move forward with the hand that we are dealt with to the best of our capability. That's all we can do. So, thank you. Stay spooky. Fall is right around the corner. And let's hope we can get through it together.